Hello, welcome to another toneless landscape oil painting demonstration. This is your painter in residence, M. Francis McCarthy, and the painting I'm bringing you today is called Path by the Lake. Painted this week before last. Quite like it. Hopefully you'll enjoy watching me put it together. Now, so that board, that interesting sort of kind of loose brushy pattern you see there, basically I took a brighter burnt sienna toned board and rubbed some raw umber on it, and I think that worked pretty well for this. Later on, I did some other boards by just adding the acrylic raw umber to the burnt sienna tinted house paint, which is just acrylic paint, anyway. But I found sometimes that really bright burnt sienna tone is just a thing, and here I wanted a little more muted deal. Here also you can see I broke out my big brush. It can be real handy if you got an area with what I would term, you would hear it in the members area, I would be calling this a bunch of nothing. Just a bunch of grass, not much in the way of differentiation. I find it's helpful to just come in with sometimes a big brush or paper towel, or what you see me doing right now is I'll dip my paper towel in some oil and just kind of start breaking things up with that. It's all fun. What attracted me to this scene was the composition of the trees and, of course, the path itself. The path itself was in the reference already. However, the lake was not. I installed that, and it's getting pretty interesting out there, folks, as far as being able to manipulate reference. For me, a dream come true, really, because I have a lot of photos I've taken and collected that might just have a great tree in it or a great grouping of trees, but the scene around it is lacking in some way. Typically, for the last 10 years, I have been manipulating my reference a lot, but what you really can't do is move a tree around, and not that I've done that yet, but what I can do is very easily correct things in the scene that are not supporting that compositional element that I thought was worthy. You see me coming in with the sky here, and just basically this the reference image has the sky swapped out. I've been using that sky for paintings for a long time. It just basically stimulates my imagination. I don't feel like when you're painting skies, you have to have a sort of attitude of kind of looseness. And here's a tip for you. Be thinking about air and water as you're painting. That is really, you may not think that's a great tip, but try it and you'll see, I think. We're going to have a quick ad for the book coming up. And hey, we shipped a couple books out this last week. I'm really stoked about that. I worked super hard on the book, and I'm really thrilled to send it all over the planet. I'm not sure if I've hit every 50 state, all of the 50 states in the U.S. yet, but we're getting there. We're getting close. Yeah. So check it out. It's $60. International shipping is included, which ain't cheap from here in New Zealand, but like I said, stoked it's getting out there. And also, just an update, video courses have at least 2 of the 3 have been actually uploaded to the site. So it's all the supporting web pages and things that I'm having to build, and it's quite a lot of stuff, actually. I don't know. I mean, if I had an employee, I'd be employing him to do quite a lot of work. I don't have an employee, and I can't afford an employee. I'm the only employee. But we're getting paintings done. We're getting the video courses done, and people also have been joining the mailing list. So please do so, because I have a discount structure set up, and I can tell you now. I don't know exactly how I'm going to pull it off, but anyone who has bought the book is going to be getting a huge, huge discount. Next, anyone on the mailing list is going to be getting a massive discount. And then the people that lovingly, and I'm so grateful for you that come and watch my videos here, you're going to get a discount. Everyone's going to get a discount. Well, not everyone. I guess some people won't, but I'm trying, you know. Anyway, I've got all that in place, and probably next week or so I'll be announcing the pricing structure and you know, the bundles and all that stuff, and then I'll be done. I can get back to just well, you know, what's taken a hit, frankly, is I love making music, and yeah, I haven't been able to do any of that. So yeah. Anyway, back to the painting. Thanks for your patience. Yeah. So, you know, it's a great time if you've done the sky, if you got a path, stream, lake, good time to maybe get into that too. As you can see, our path here is not the same colors as the sky, but the one thing that it has in common is that there's a lot of white in the brush. So, uh, whereas in the landscape itself, we typically, you might just use a little white on the lightest and brightest parts. Now here I was pretty enthused with my drawings, so I'm coming in with the darks. I'm just trying to support what I've done. One of the things I set up in this reference is I wanted one of the tree masses, I don't know if it's an actual independent tree, to be different. So I didn't want there to just be one ridge of just dark trees. Also, I was trying my best to differentiate those two that are closest to the lake, and I think as I plug along, I was able to do that. A lot of times, I don't know exactly when I'm going to do, you know, the background elements. Like they were doing this hill, you can see it started getting a little high. Now, in the reference, that would have been a tiny little distant sliver. And just another tip for you, you definitely, if you're painting something from a photo and it's a lake or a pond or something, in most cases, because of the focal length of the camera, more distant elements will be made far smaller than you would perceive them if you were a human standing there observing the scene. So you generally want to make distant elements bigger, especially here it might look like it was an ocean instead of a lake if I hadn't made that ridge of hills in the distance, or whatever it is in the distance, you know, bigger than they were in the reference. However, I didn't want it too predominant and I didn't want it to be something that started establishing itself as some kind of subject, you know. I do think that basically I kind of shoehorned this lake in. It's the first time I've been able to really successfully do that with reference, and it's that AI feature in the Adobe Photoshop. It's finally, you know, after all these years of paying that monthly fee, which I really find irritating. Now I've been using the Photoshop since 96, 95, and I paid that $600 in 90s money, and then I would pay the upgrade every now and again when that came across. When they switched over to the monthly thing, it really got in my craw. But you know, I'm so me in Photoshop. You know, I was making my living in that program for 13 years, and I've been working in it for 25 or something. I really don't have a choice. But it's irritating. Getting to my point, though, finally they've given us something that is really worthy. And actually, you do need to be connected to the internet for it to use its AI magic. Now, I'm not trying to turn my photos into art on their own. They are designed to support my painting. And it's perfect for that. It doesn't matter if it's a little wonky or not quite realistic, because it all ends with the painting. Yeah, so the real challenge in this scene, I think, was working with those grasses. You have a real natural advantage in that path is extremely attractive and is leading us into the scene towards the the tree masses, and then we move into the sky, and we definitely move around pretty well compositionally. As far as subject matter goes, there's nothing extremely strong. We have the rigid trees and the path, and they're basically functioning as the subject. But when you take it into account with the nice sky, the nice path, the loosely and expressively painted grass, I think it's a good painting. I think it stands up real well. And actually, I do grasses in two of the. Well, actually, yeah, they're in all three. All three of the video courses I'm doing feature grasses, but in three different ways. This type of grass, where it's kind of long, unruly grass, well, painting grass is always a challenge. I think I try to really, in these video courses, really try and get literally into the weeds with you to impart my ideas about it, because well, I don't mind telling you here now. It's because it's not that easy to do. But this is, I think, the real secret when you're painting these areas which don't have anything, that's concrete or individual. It's just, as I was saying, I call it a bunch of nothing. The guy that really helped me out with this is like George Ness. So often he would just have the whole bottom of his painting be a big mass of just grass or whatever. And this actually applies to any part of your painting or the entire painting. What you want to do is interpret the scene with a series of patterns that you're creating. And you can see I started with the big brush, and then I'm moving in with other things. And then at no point do I start getting real tight and going, oh, I need to delineate this particular clump of weeds or grass. It's an overall feeling, it's an overall effect that's being brought along all at once, working with the bigger shapes and patterns and subdividing those into smaller patterns and trying to keep it loose and expressive the whole way through. Now, I'm pretty good at succeeding at that because I've done a lot of bad grass. That came out different than I meant. You know what I mean. Actually, I don't think even the younger generations would refer to the thing I was laughing about as grass anymore anyway. But anyway, you can see you start. So at a certain point with your painting, and I was talking to a student about this recently as we were working on a painting side by side in my studio. I was talking to her about this pattern concept, and I think it's really key to not just to doing art, but to doing your own thing. So the real tendency can be to feel that you are inferior to the reference, and what you're coming up with is not as good. And so you come up with some patterns and things, but then you start changing them and trying to make them more like the reference, thinking that things in the reference are going to be superior to what you've come up with in your painting, but that's not really the case. It could be the case if you haven't come up with some nice patterns, but even if your patterns are a little wonky, if you get in there and reinforce that, what you'll have would be a really pretty cool painting that's based on you and what you see and what you're about. And I think that's what we're interested in. We don't really need a copy and paint of a photo. Those all really tend to suck, if you haven't noticed. Anyway, hey, that's another video. Thank you so much for joining me. I really appreciate you coming around. Like I said, join that mailing list. Leave me a comment, please, if you enjoyed this video. I really appreciate that. Anyway, till I come back with another video for your edification, hopefully for your edification and enjoyment, do me a favor, do me a solid. Take good care of yourself, your family, all your loved ones. Stay out of trouble, and God bless you and your family. Fight the power.